Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Shake Sales. My name is Sujan Patel. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Mailshake. Today, I've got Michelle Vu. Super excited to talk to you, Michelle, because, well, first of all, Michelle is the VP of sales at G2, but also just a seasoned sales leader. And we got a pretty interesting topic. So, Michelle, welcome.
Thanks, Sujan. Nice to talk to you. Very excited. Before I get into this topic that I really love and want to talk through more, I have, as Sujan mentioned, I am VP of Sales at G2. I've been at G2 for the past 6 years as a leader. I have over 12 years of leadership experience. Prior to G2, I was at CareerBuilder for 6 years. Prior to that, I was at a subsidiary of Staples. So I have an interesting, unique background. Then worked at a car dealership, worked at a healthcare company. I've done a lot of different things. I have had a sales quota since I was 15. So I am very passionate about sales. I love it. I will never not do it. I'm all about it.
Love it. Awesome. So and what's awesome is like you've done sales at various like B2B, B2C, corporations, small companies, various industries. So I think that's a lot of experience to pull from. So, prior to the recording, we talked about getting executive alignment. And I think, first of all, I didn't know that thing existed, that existed. I've been in SMB, mid-market sales, more marketing. But let's talk about what the heck is executive alignment when you're kind of in the sales journey.
Yeah. So I'll say there's two buckets, both internal and external, and then two buckets for customer and new business. So if we're going the new business route, you need to not only have your executives at your company know who you're targeting and leverage your connections, but you also need to be able to leverage the executives at the prospects that you're going after, giving them information that's going to educate them on why you and why your company. Now, they might not want to be in the room, and so you want to make sure that you're giving them compelling information. We'll go into more detail. And then the other bucket is customer, where, again, executive alignment, making sure your executives know your top customers and have a relationship with them. But also the C-suite of your customers, what do they know about your company? Because we're in a tough economy right now. Budget gets cut very quickly. And if you're not in the room and they don't know what value you provide, then you're not there to tell them what it is. And so it's quick to just the renewal is you might lose it.
That makes sense. Yeah. I think, one of the things we've experienced, and I'm sure this is not unique to us, this has happened industry wide, is you're in the middle of a selling cycle and your champion, your buyer gets laid off, or their team gets laid off, or like it's a different person all of a sudden. And I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. They're like, I'm not interested. They're not interested. I don't care. Right. So that's a great example of like failing to like get the higher ups even aware of what's going on. So let's talk about what can we do to get, what's good ways to get the executive team or just maybe the buyer, the decision makers actually involved or aware?
Well, first, leverage your POC. Of course, you're going to want to make sure that you're putting them in a good light, because you also never, like, they were probably given this relationship. This is they might be KPI'd on it. You need to make sure they're potentially protective of it. So you want to think about your strategy and if it makes sense to leverage your POC, or if you want to ask for forgiveness and go ahead and go to the C-level without their blessing. I always say, make sure that you give them, the C-level, a positive update on what it's like to work with your POC, so that that email is going to get forwarded, and that is a relationship that you should hold true and dear to your heart, because you are working together on a successful partnership. But sometimes your POC is that decision.
Which one have you seen better, permission or forgiveness?
Forgiveness. Yeah. So
fair enough. I'm always the forgiveness approach.
I think that's like the general sales mentality. You have to be okay with the forgiveness, not the permission. It's extra how do I like extra protected because, when it's customer side, because, we have a renewal that we need to make sure that that comes in. But that's where the executive alignment internally comes. So why not it be your VP, me reach out, and I'm the one that has to ask for forgiveness. And I'm the one that's going to reach out to the C-level and try to get communication, an open line of communication. If I mean, then my account manager is not going to get in trouble because it's really their boss's boss that's doing the outreach. It's one of those things that it's not done all the time, but it is a very, very simple thing to do. I am sending emails all the time to try to connect with our customers just to get a response and get a connection. Sometimes it's really just for feedback, for me to say like, hey, how has your sales process with my account manager been? And then I am able to talk to the customer and learn and also get an understanding of where they're at and how they're feeling about the relationship overall and what we can do to hopefully save the business.
Love it. Yeah. I think that's a great. So that's why I think that in alignment on the executive, on the buying and selling side is important because both other parties can multi-thread essentially, right? I mean, we all know multi-threading works when from an SDR AE perspective of you're getting multiple decision makers or multiple users of whatever said product, or service. But now you're doing multi-threading on like a different level and a different person on the company, on the seller side, which I think is not done at least tastefully just yet, right?
Yeah, no, it's not. And there was a stat that, our COO shared with us, and he basically said in his network, he knows that he was told from a CMO that if I come in and I know my budget's getting cut, I'm just going to look at a dollar amount, and anything under a certain dollar amount, I'm just going to cut it if I don't know anything about it. And that was like a very come to Jesus moment. And like, whoa, okay, no matter what, if anything, I just need to make sure my team is sending messaging to the C-suite of our customers so that they understand, hey, we're working with you. This is the value that you're seeing. And oh, by the way, did you know this fact that so-and-so, and just give them something that they didn't know previously. And you might not get a response, but you probably will get that C-level to forward that to your POC. Yeah. And then it's like a whole circle.
That makes sense. And I think that like one of the interesting things about this is, most people are like, I need to book I need to get a call, and that's my like success metric. This is a make them aware, ideally engage, right? And get them involved. But like even aware is a win in this case, because at a time of budget cuts, when you're unaware of something, you could just easily slip into the automatic, like you were saying, automatic not renew or not interested category.
Yeah. And we're making sure, like, I'm sure you get a million prospecting emails a day. I know I do myself, but, we're making sure, how do we hone in our messaging? Shout out to Demand Gen. I think you've had, Jen Allen on the podcast before, but in just trying to make sure that our strategy is concise and we are not wasting time and we're not wasting energy trying to spend 10 minutes on one email that is not going to get looked at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like, one interesting thing I'd say, if you're selling to sales and marketing professionals, especially at the like CMOs, CRO level, is they're probably not aware. They're probably aware of the 2-3 most successful channels, their biggest levers. But then there's the everything else that's been piled up over the last, 5-10 years. And then everything else category can rise pretty quickly to a meaningful amount. But, and those are the ones that get cut, and they're like, oh, why did my traffic slow down? Like, I'll give G2 a quick plug, right? So you're spending money on G2, you're getting leads, but they come direct. Well, that on your analytics or your, whatever CRM or the data you could track, it might look like direct, but did they start did they start somewhere else, right? Did it come truly from more exposure elsewhere? You don't know, right? I'm not saying that you could track it perfectly or whatever, but like, that might be a touch point, right? So if you're in sales and marketing, it could be a question around, whatever to get people engaged. But anyways, so I want to ask you about what do you say? How can you be thoughtful and not just another touch point, right? So multi-threading and like people reaching out to decision makers, C-suite has been going on for years, or, even longer. But most of the stuff I've seen is just like pretty shitty. It's like very automated, right? Which there's software for that. We contribute to the problem as well. But, what would you say is I guess the right way to do it, or what's the best way to do it?
That's the beauty of sales, isn't it? This is where the creative lens needs to come in, and you can't be stuck on a template that like got you a meeting once 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I also get on the phone. I don't think people are calling as much now, and I don't get a lot of phone calls. I'll answer them. Hopefully I get some phone calls after this, and we'll see if anyone like shoots their shot. But it goes down to and again, I'll shout out to demand gen, but very, very concise. And what is something that I learned about your business? What is something that I was doing this when I was in IC. What is something that like you maybe don't know? It's probably not I'm not trying to make it about G2 in this instance. I'm just trying to give you an example in general. I was at Career Builder previous. And so what we would always do is I would look at the job market and understand the types of roles that they had open, and trying to give them the supply and demand numbers and why it was really important that they took a different approach, because the supply and demand of X role was really tough and difficult at the times. And so it's like, how do you come in as a thought leader to stand out from the noise and don't talk about your company? Like, why I don't care about your company right now. I'm caring about solving my BHAG goals,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think like, that's a great approach. I think so I'm going to rephrase what you said. So try different channels, right? So no one's doing, and then try channels that no one's doing right now. So like, and in my opinion, like try the channel or use a channel that's like the person's most likely to be active. If they're freaking on X or Twitter, get them on that, right? If they're on TikTok, get them on TikTok. Like in my opinion, there's no shame of like using social media that everyone consumes every day to do the call, to do the engagement. But asking question, go ahead.
I was going to say, and AI, like you have an opportunity. If you're selling on the enterprise level, you can take a 10K and put it into whatever tool you use and have spit out the top priorities of the organization and have information that you're going to be able to put into your prospecting. And even if it's like a renewal, you can easily take some of that information and leverage it for you to do what you need to do.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. That's even better, smarter, right? You're taking all the information that's out there and then using it to your advantage, right? Like, in the AI tip, just a tactical way to execute that is those documents are public. You can copy that into, ChatGPT or whatever service you're using and say, summarize the challenges, summarize the goals, summarize the objectives, or show me what challenges they're going to face or what they think their challenges are. And in the 50-page documents that is hard to read if you're not, just in general, it's hard to read. They're so long and lengthy and a lot of stuff is buried. You can float up a big thing like, oh, we're dealing with some custom logo churn. This is what we plan on doing about it. Well, be in the category of how you can help with this is what we plan on doing about it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you cut out.
It's a little choppy. Sorry. I got the same thing on my end. We'll just edit this out.
Yeah.
I've marked this as a choppy, but, it will upload fine. It's just yours and my connections is not great. It's the server is fine.
Okay. Good.
What else can we talk about on this particular topic? Can we wrap up with one thing or one one more question.
Yeah, I think like if you look at setting your own personal goals and, everybody's going to have input metrics. We're in sales, so you have things that you drive for, but I think what's going to set you out, from the crowd when it comes to this topic, which this topic is going to pay dividends. If you're able to get more people involved in your conversations and your deals, you're going to renew at a higher rate, expand. If you're in the new business, get bigger deals. Is set a goal per account. Like, how many contacts am I going to get on this deal? And write them down, share them with your leader. Make sure that like it's unique. You know exactly the targets that you're going after. Build out your account planning doc so that you're starting. I mean, we just started our fiscal 3 weeks ago, so we're starting to do that right now. But even if you're a month and a half in or 2 months in, you could easily do this to make sure you're set up for success this year. And it's almost, we're in a tough gig. It's hard. And so this is also a little win. If you're able to get somebody on the phone that you had on that list, that's exciting, like small win, share it with your leader, give a shout out. Like those are the fun things that I like to do to that, the small wins obviously build up to the big, but it is the little things that help drive us. So that would just be my takeaway to think about what you would want to do with your own business.
Love it. Yeah. I think I was talking to guests earlier, on hiring sales reps and sales folks, AEs in this time. And we're like, it's not the output these days. It's the input. And this input, if you could say like, it's building momentum. It's building willingness to do these things. And I think it's taken every win that moves a deal slightly forward, right? It's like, this might not be from like, prospect is interested to ready to buy, but this might be like interested and decision maker engaged category, like one notch over. And right now that's a win.
And think about it as your sales development. So now you're going to be able to get in front of a higher level buyer. And so that is going to help you in your own career progression to tell that story of, hey, I have been in front of C-suites at Fortune 500. I know what to do. I know how to get them on the phone. And so there's this is positive in all around. It's hard to do. That's why it's been talked about for many, many years. And that's, it's extra top of mind now because of the churn that, most companies are facing. But, this is the time to stand out and stand out. You could stand out pretty big right now.
Yeah. And, I think a lot of people, what my like 2 cents on this, even though I run an automation company, you don't need to automate every little thing, right? Like this is one of those like, might be high effort, but it's high value because you got the executive aligned. If you can make a champion out of your executive, you pretty much got the deal, right?
Yeah. And then they're going to go to a different company and then there you go. Like you're able to follow and help there. And, you can still do automation, but maybe on the platforms, so you see them posting on LinkedIn, like you're the little bird in their ear that, not the annoying bird, but value bird in the ear, to try to get some, again, just at least awareness to start that they know who you are. They know, that you do provide some value to them. So.
Love it. Awesome. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for your time. Where can people go to kind of get in touch or follow along?
Yeah. LinkedIn, Michelle Koenig Vu. Definitely hit me up, send me an email. I'll see if anyone figures out my cell phone number and gives me a call. But would love to chat. Thank you.
Love it. Thanks.